So Oregon's two highest rated players in the class of 2025 are number one wide receiver and top 10 overall player Deori Moore from Duncanville High School, who seems to catch a highlight touchdown reel from the Alabama quarterback commit. I never remember his name. He's really good though, obviously. And Deori Moore helps make him look good. He seems to do that every single week. That's Oregon's highest rated player, according to 24/7. The second highest rated player is Dallas Wilson. So I have heard rumblings upon the grapevine, as they say, that Florida is pushing hard after Dallas Wilson. Now, he is from the Tampa area. So as of now, Oregon's pitch to him is, hey, come play football for the Ducks. Yeah, we're really far away, but Oregon is awesome. We'll make you feel right at home. And what I have been told is that Florida's pitch to him is, do you really want to go that far? Is that where you went? Look, Oregon's a great program and everything, but boy, it's a long ways away. And some guys want to be homebodies. Some guys don't want to stray that far. I went to college out of state. A lot of people didn't want to do that because they'd rather be closer to home. I get it. Home is great. I go home all the time. I go home every summer. Well, at least for the last couple of summers. But for the foreseeable future, I'll go back home to Oregon every summer. So I understand where they're coming from there and how that could supersede the quality of football program you're going to play for. Because Florida, though they are definitely improved on the football field in the second half of this year, they're the best 5-5 team in the country. That's a pitch. That's a pit. They could be better than 5-5 if they get an easier schedule, which certainly they will next year. But do they feel as close to winning a national championship as Oregon? No, they do not. But there are a lot of factors that go into a recruitment. I hope we all know and understand that by now. It's not just, wait, why would that guy go to that team over there when Oregon's doing all these great things? Well, they've got nice facilities too. They've got a recruiter on staff who's dynamite and builds really good relationships. And Billy Napier has been a good recruiter. Now, this has not been crystal balled by someone like Steve Wiltfong, for instance, who was correct predicting the flip of Vander Plug from Washington to Oregon. And I just bring that up because anytime a crystal ball is wrong, all I hear in the comments are, crystal balls are worthless. People don't know what they're talking about. They're going off bad intel, blah, blah, blah. But when crystal balls are right, crickets. It reminds me a lot of what I deal with on Locked On College Football when I'm wrong. Spencer, you were just hating on our team. You're just such a fool. You don't understand what you're talking about. But then when I'm right, crickets. That's the way it goes. So I don't know where exactly the lean is right now. I do have it on good authority that the push for Dallas Wilson is incredibly real. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind here. Number one, the in-state factors I brought up. But number two is that though it doesn't appear as direct as it once did when he initially announced he was leaving Texas, former five-star receiver in the class of 2023, Jonte Cook, did once upon a time, I believe he has since removed it, make his Instagram bio a picture of him in some Oregon gear. You make of that whatever you will. But the calculation for the Oregon staff, Junior Adams, and everybody else is if we bring in Dallas Wilson, is he someone that immediately pushes for playing time to the point where, yeah, we can't bring in Jonte Cook anymore? And Jonte's been in college for 2 years already. He hasn't played a lot. That's why he's leaving Texas. He wants to see the football. He'd like to have the ball come his way. He wants to be higher up along the rotation. If we bring in Dallas Wilson, who's a five-star wide receiver and the number one wideout in the Florida area, which, as I'm sure we all know, is a hotbed for recruiting. There are a lot of talented kids down there. Is that going to present a conflict? Would Dallas Wilson come in and be willing to sit behind you and not play for a season? Because, I mean, you look at Jerrion Dickey, who was a four-star wideout, got the bump up to a five-star status. Here we are in his second season, and he's got, I think, one catch in his Oregon career. Now, he battled injury in his first season, but he has been passed by someone in Justice Lowe, who was a lower-rated recruit coming out of high school, but Lowe is playing his third season of college football. And Dickey, with the injury last year, is essentially playing his first. So that calculation back and forth, I imagine is going to be in play here for Oregon. If you see Dallas Wilson flip to Florida, which is, again, not guaranteed. I just know that the push is very real. I think Miami's been after him as well, but Florida, I think, would be the leader to flip him in the run-up to signing day, which is about a month away. If he flips to Florida, watch out for Jonte Cook. That's the back and forth go-between that I'm really interested to see play out. Oregon has a really talented wide receiver room. Not just now, but next year. And the year after that. Because remember, 5-star Gatlin Bear is on a mission right now. He's coming in 2026. And I know that's thinking way into the future and such. But I'm just pointing out that the talent acquisition is incredibly strong at this position. I think next year, Jeremiah McClellan could be a stud. Jerion Dickey could pop. Kyler Casper could have a role. Like, there are a lot of options. It's just a question of how those options work their way up the depth chart, because there's just going to be so much turnover. You're losing minimum 3 receivers. Minimum. Tez Johnson, Trayshawn Holden, Gary Bryant Jr. could technically come back. Evan Stewart could technically come back. I'd be hard-pressed to see both of them returning to Oregon next year. One of them, maybe. Maybe. That's entirely possible. Both of them, gosh, the odds feel really slim. So that's the recruiting nugget. And then Deori Moore took a visit a couple weeks ago to Alabama LSU, and LSU got housed by Bama. So roll tide roll, I guess. But I have not heard anything that Deori Moore is anywhere close to flipping. So all is quiet on the Western Front there. I'll end with this mailbag question from Major Wave, a hypothetical, which can be fun. And also reflective of how I feel about a particular position right now. If you had to replace one player on the offensive and defensive side of the ball with a player from the past, who would it be and why? On the offense, I'm going with Shane Lemieux at guard to replace Strother for obvious reasons. Well, I don't think Nishad Strother deserved that particular shot. Would I bring back a guard? Yeah. I'd probably bring back Jackson Powers Johnson, though. Like, can we just agree that's the best interior Oregon offensive lineman while he was with the Ducks of my lifetime? And maybe of, like, there are some great ones out there, so I'm not going to make a definitive statement about all time, but like, come on, guy wins the Remington Award. We've had some great centers come through Oregon. None of them came as close as, I don't even know if there had been a finalist before. I could be wrong on that. I did not double check before making such a statement, but Max Unger was really good. Hronis Grasu was really good. I think Grasu might have been a finalist, and deservedly so. He was phenomenal. Jake Hansen was good, but JPJ, that's the guy I'd bring back, because what I'm seeking is stability on the interior of Oregon's offensive line. Nobody brings that like JPJ. He could play guard. He could play center. He's starting for the Las Vegas Raiders right now, and they're not any good. I don't think that's his fault. It's just that, they're the Raiders, and yeah, they have Antonio Pierce as their head coach. I can't believe it's not working out. I'm completely and utterly shocked. So I wouldn't replace one guy in particular. I'd just bring him into the room and say, let's figure out the rotations now. That's where I go with, because I don't think one guard has necessarily stood head and shoulders above the rest, which is why they've all played. They all played last week. We saw Davey Uli, Nishad Strother, Kavika Rogers. They all played last week. And I think that's because they're all on pretty similar footing. So JPJ on offense, and then on defense, got to make a change to someone on defense. I'm a sucker for Javon Holland always. Brandon Johnson's been really good. Like, Brandon Johnson's been great. But is anybody as good as Javon Holland at that nickel position? Probably not. So I still might say Verone McKinley, because I think you have enough hitters in the secondary. Like, Taishim is a guy that makes tackles and plays around the line of scrimmage a lot, to where Kobe Savage, and look, he had a great game against Maryland, does some good things in coverage. I still don't think that he's a super rangy guy in the passing game over the top. Like, that long ball that Wisconsin hit on Dante Manning, that ball hung in the air for a long time. And I just thought, boy, is someone going to get over? No, he didn't get there. Dante got beat off the line of scrimmage, and Kobe wasn't over there in time. So maybe a Verone McKinley or a John Boyette, flip a coin and take either one of those guys. But frankly, I'd go with 2 interior offensive linemen before I went with anyone on defense, because why would you change anything? If it ain't broke, don't fix it on defense. They're just awesome. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.